ridiculous of an Urborg Scavengers can we build in Tarkir Dragonstorm Standard? That's what we're gonna find out today. So here is our Sultai Scavengers deck for Standard, and I'm pretty excited for this one. So we are built around Urborg Scavengers, a 3-mana 2/2 that when it enters or attacks, we exile a card from a graveyard and put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then it gets all the abilities of anything that's exiled with it. So if we exile something with flying, it is flying, or double strike, or death touch, or haste, or hexproof, blah, 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 blah. So that's the goal of our deck, is to get creatures with a bunch of keywords into the graveyard, and then eat them with Scavengers to build the most unbeatable 3-drop ever in Standard. So for this to work, we need to do two things, which is find our Scavengers and fill our graveyard. So we got a bunch of cards to help with this. Cash Grab, say its name, fill our graveyard, dig for our Scavengers. Kiora lets us draw and discard some cards, so it's a way we can get things that we want in our graveyard from our hand into the graveyard, while also churning through our deck to find our Scavengers. Also could make an Octopus eventually, even our removal spells, Awaken the Honor Dead and Quake's Feast, fill our graveyard along the way. I think Awaken the Honor Dead in specific might actually be kind of a sleeper from Tarkir Dragonstorm. I bet this card's going to be good in Standard eventually. For 3 mana, first lore counter blows up any non-land permanent, so unconditional removal. Then you get to mill 3 cards, and then the last mode, that's the key one for this deck. We can discard a card, and if we do, we can return a creature or land from a graveyard to our hand. So another way we can discard something to get it in the graveyard, and then we can get back our Scavengers, play our Scavengers, eat that thing, start building our big board to win the game. So let's say we pull this off. We fill our graveyard, we find our Scavengers. What are we trying to eat to build the best 3-drop of all time? And there's a few different answers, but the best two: Zetalpa Primal Dawn, Sphinx of the Final Word. This is what lets us really build the unbeatable Urborg Scavengers. So Zetalpa, we don't even have white mana in our deck, so we can't realistically cast it, but that's fine. We don't plan on casting it. We just want to eat it for Scavengers because it has Flying and Double Strike, Vigilance and Trample and Indestructible. 5 very powerful keywords. So if we get this in the graveyard, eat it with Scavengers, the first activation of Scavengers, it's going to be a 3/3 Flying, Double Strike, Vigilance, Trample, Indestructible. That is already crazy for 3 mana, and then it's going to keep growing as we go along. Hopefully the next creature we eat will be a Sphinx of the Final Word, which has Flying and Hexproof. If we can add in Hexproof alongside the Indestructible and the Double Strike and the Vigilance and all that other stuff, it's pretty much impossible outside of a Sunfall for our opponent to actually deal with the Urborg Scavengers. And then we also have a couple of backups. Quasi-Revenant, I really like in this deck because we can also just play it as a creature. It's like a souped up Vampire Nighthawk, but it has Flying, Death Touch, and Lifelink, so we can add some Lifelink in on top of our Double Strike if we're up against aggro. And then Gold Vein Hydra, Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. The trick here is, if we can get Gold Vein Hydra in the graveyard, we can play our Scavengers with its ETB trigger, Eat the Hydra, to get Haste, and then we can attack, we'll get another Scavengers trigger, and then we can exile the Zetalpa or the Sphinx of the Final Word or whatever we need to protect our Scavengers. So that's basically the goal of the deck. Fill our graveyard, eat these things, make a ridiculously good Scavengers. Finally, we have a bit of a backup plan in Abhorrent Oculus. So when I first built this deck, the thing I was struggling with most to make it work was, what happens if I don't find Scavengers? We have all these cards that are designed to power up Urborg Scavengers, but sometimes we just don't find it. And if we don't find it and we're drawing all these Sphinxes and Zetalpas that we can't even cast, things go kind of bad. So I eventually realized, even though there's no exact backup for Urborg Scavengers, there's no Soul Flayer in Standard, Abhorrent Oculus is actually the perfect backup because it does everything we want in this deck. It gives us another big game ender that we can play as a 5/5 that's going to manifest 2/2s every turn. It takes advantage of the fact that we're really good at filling our graveyard, and then once we have it on the battlefield, because it's manifesting Dread every turn, it's actually supporting our Scavengers by filling our graveyard. So Abhorrent Oculus, really key to letting the deck function in the games where we don't fight Urborg Scavengers. So that's the plan of the deck. Mana base, pretty straightforward stuff. In the sideboard, Heritage Reclamation, basically a catch-all to get rid of any graveyard hate that might shut us down. Filigree Silex, primarily to deal with Corey Steelcutter decks, then a bunch of removal, a couple of counters, some Ghost Vacuum for graveyard decks, and that is Sultai Scavengers, and that's our deck for today. So let's jump into some games and see just how ridiculous of an Urborg Scavengers we can build in Tarkir Dragonstorm Standard. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap-up. Need some magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. Today's show is brought to you by Cook & Becker, the premier destination for high-end video game and fantasy art prints. Own a piece of Magic's history with the officially licensed Black Lotus screen print based on Christopher Rush's legendary artwork, one of the most iconic images in Magic's history. These museum-grade prints are limited to just 75 copies worldwide. You can also check out their entire Magic collection, including favorites like Bitter Blossom and Jace the Mind Sculptor. Check out cookandbecker.com today and use the code FISH5, that's the word fish and the number 5, for 5% off at checkout. It is Urborg Scavengers time. We're trying to build the most ridiculous creature possible in Standard, and this hand, well, Scavengers, but all lands. That's not gonna work. This is fine. We can put the Tulpa to the bottom. I guess we could win fairly with Quasi-Revenant, maybe. I mean, this hand's not bad. We got a removal spell. Awaken the Honor Dead is nice. I feel like Awaken the Honor Dead, I think that's a good card. It might not be good right now in the current meta, but I feel like sooner or later, that is going to be a playable card. We'll see. We'll see. Opponent. Ooh, what's our opponent doing? Some sort of 5-color pile? Well, let's get down the Revenant. Start beating down, see if we can gain some life with our Super Nighthawk Scavenger. Opponent. Oh, all right. You're one of those. Overlord of the Hauntwoods, eh? Well, say its name's not the worst. So way we can fill our graveyard at least. Get in, hit ya. Yeah, let's just say its name. Do a little milling. Get back I guess a Surveil land. We want, I think, the Hydra in the graveyard. That is one of our good scavenger targets once we find the scavengers. Opponent, tap land, and passing. Well, maybe we just have Revenants for days. Let's Mortuary. Surveil away the land. Alright, opponent's gonna get lost. Yeah, let's get down the Kiora. See if we can find a Scavengers, maybe. Well, Sphinx gotta go in the graveyard, and yeah, I guess we pitch the Revenant too. And then we can crack a map on our Kiora. Scavengers. We'll keep the Revenant. Revenant's decent. We also can make an 8/8 if they can't kill this Kiora. Elspeth. Oh, all right. The power of Awaken the Honor Dead. Wow, they're going to kill the Kiora? Okay. Opponent didn't want us to make the Octopus, I guess, but this works out fine, because now we get to get rid of the Elspeth. Basically made it a 5-mana removal spell. No value. Awaken the Honor Dead, kill the Elspeth, and do a little cash grabbing. Well, no Scavenger, but Oculus is a good backup. That was what finally made this deck click a little bit, was realizing the Oculus was, oh god, Vaultborn Tyrant. Realizing the Oculus was the best backup Scavengers, even though it's not really similar. Well, mill some cards. Well, I mean, I guess we got Oculi here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Normally just try to leave the creatures in the graveyard. The other stuff doesn't really matter. All right, well, yeah, get down the Oculus. Although we are facing down a pretty big board. I guess we can kill the Overlord of the Hauntwoods. There's kind of no point in trying to kill the Vaultborn Tyrant. If only we had Altinic in our deck. We have the 3 say its names. Didn't play Altinic, although I guess we could play an Altinic. Cavern. Thalia in the Gitrog Monster. Interesting. Draws a card, plays a land. I mean, we have another... Oh, Baitor. What is going on over there? Okay, opponent is living the Abzan dream. Hits us down to 17. Vader, 17 toughness, draws a card. Well, let's discard the Revenant. Normally, we want to be getting back a Scavengers, but we just don't have a Scavengers yet. Somehow, with all this milling, we have not found a Scavengers. Well, I think we got to get rid of this Baitor, which blocks our Oculus. I think if we're going to win this game, it's going to be janking our opponent out with Oculus by the looks. So Oculus number 2. Exile a bunch of stuff. Get in for 5. I mean, so the Vaultborn does have Trample, but we can... Ooh, Scavengers. Okay, that's not bad. We can flip up the Scavengers and start exiling stuff, which is pretty sweet. I guess that's another reason to play Oculus in the deck. It's a way to find our Scavengers. Found it. Invasion of Gobakon. into our empty hand. I mean, they can flip it, so. Sheltered by Goose. Really? Getting rid of the blocker? And then just smash us for 1 million? Wow, they're gonna flip it. All right. Our opponent didn't answer an Oculus, and then they didn't hit us for all the damage, so considering how badly that turn went for us, it could have went way worse. Because we're still gonna be at 11, and we still have double Oculus going. And they didn't even exile the Scavenger. Oh no. Well, that might be the dagger. Trample throwback. Gets Awaken the Undead in our very juicy graveyard. Ugh. Alright, well, there's a Kiora. Can we draw and discard as a Tulpa, please? That would be the best. Ooh, okay, there's a Zatulpa. Well, let's flip up the Scavenger real quick, y'all. And we're gonna do a little attacking. Can we win this race? We attack with 3. Oh my god, we might actually... Are we gonna win this? That would be ridiculous. All right, eat the Zatulpa. Our Scavengers. 3/3 flying, double striking, indestructible. And our opponent is now down to 10. And we get to make 2 more chump blockers. Doesn't really matter. We'll put the Sphinx in the graveyard. Opponent has good game. Wait, does this mean they're conceding or they think we're dead? We go to 1 though, right? Because we have a blocker. So we block here on the Thalia. Am I missing something? We block on the Thalia, and then we take 10 to 1? And then don't we win on the backswing? Wait, maybe our opponent meant... Oh, they meant they had... Okay. Smuggler's Surprise. Double Overlord of the Mistmoors. Draws a bunch of cards, makes a bunch of flyers. Okay, that sounds right. That sounds right. Up the Beanstalk, sure. Yeah, I think that actually does do it then. Because now they just have too many flyers, so we can't actually kill them. Oh, I thought we were going to pull that off. That was so close. All right, so opponents, I don't even know. Something with a lot of big creatures that's vaguely Abzan-ish. Well, I guess we bring in a little bit of removal. Like, trim a Revenant and maybe say its name. This hand is horrible. This hand, well... We can't be too greedy since we've already had to mulligan, so this is fine. The question is, what are we going to put to the bottom? I mean, we will keep 6. Yeah, I guess it's, well, Awaken the Undead is good removal against them, but it's also slow. Maybe we go Quag Feast. Yeah, we'll keep the Awaken the Undead. I feel like Awaken the Undead is really good in this deck. Not only does it kill anything, but it fills the graveyard, and then it lets us get our Scavengers back from the graveyard. That was one of my concerns, was like, okay, we're milling a lot, so how do we make sure that if we mill the Scavengers, we can actually get into play? Awaken the Undead does that while also being a relatively good removal spell. It is 3 mana sorcery speed, so it's not like a busted removal spell, but hitting any non-land is actually pretty nice. Opponent, Herd Heirloom. Ooh, there's our Scavengers. We need to fill the graveyard, though. I think we're going to just blow up the Herd Heirloom first, though. No reason to let our opponent start ramping into their ridiculous big stuff. Wow, an opponent misses our land drop. Okay. Can we mill? Well, there's a Sphinx. Oh, let's just Kiora, though. I'm worried, so it is worth mentioning with Scavengers. The comparison's always Soul Flayer, and that is the best comparison. Play the land. Keep the cash grab. So you always compare Scavengers to Soul Flayer. The biggest difference is Soul Flayer gets the abilities on the stack, so it enters with whatever abilities you got. Scavengers, you gotta exile, so it puts a trigger on the stack, so there is a window there. Yeah, I don't even think we discard anything. There is a window there for our opponent to interact, so it's worth keeping in mind. Well, do some milling, and yeah, we'll just grab a Hedge Maze with the cash grab. Get in with the Kiora and make an octopus. Also a pretty good Kiora deck, apparently. Play the land, and, well, Scavenger time. Do you have an instant speed removal spell? Do we gotta get lost? Apparently not. Well, let's exile a Sphinx of the Final Word. So now we have Hexproof, and we have Flying on our Scavengers. Wow, an opponent Scoops it up. Cannot beat the Scavengers. Okay, that went much better. On to game number 3. We're going to be on the draw this game. Ooh, okay. Okay, double Scavengers and to say it seemed to fill the graveyard. Goldvein Hydra. Ooh, all right, we're going to play the Surveil Land. Definitely milling the Sphinx. That's a good one. It's funny with Goldvein Hydra. In some cases, I think there's an argument to playing it X equals 0 just so it dies to get it in the graveyard. If we had to untap land on turn 1, we might have actually done that. Well, say its name, do some milling, snag, probably Kiora. Because with Scavengers, if you get a Hydra in the graveyard, you can play Scavengers, exile the Hydra with the first trigger to get Haste, and Vigilance, and Trample. And then you can attack right away and get the second trigger for Hexproof or Double Strike or whatever. Opponent up the beanstalk. Gonna draw a card, sure. Gonna hit us with their Knight, down to 18. Well, play the Verge and let's do a little scavenging. Hexproof's a pretty good starting point. Exile the Sphinx to the final word. All right, can you beat a Hexproof Scavenger's opponent? Thalia in the Gitrog Monster. Ooh, a Revenant, eh? Well, let's Kiora. See if we can loot into a Zetalpa, maybe? Wow. Well, that's 3 Revenants in a row. I guess we'll just discard 2 of them. Play the land. And, yeah, I mean, we got to get in. We got to keep the Scavenger growing. Exile Revenant. So now we have, what? Hexproof, Flying, Lifelink, Death Touch. Double Strike. We could use Double Strike. Ooh, Elishnorn. We're going to have to kill that. Elishnorn is scary. Opponent, Thalia the Gitrog Monster. Going to sack the token, hit us down to 18, draw a card. Well, we need to go for the throat to Elishnorn, I think. But then that's all we can do, really? Yeah, let's get rid of the Elishnorn. And let's play a sad little Goldvein Hydra. 1/1 and tapped. Well, eat the Elishnorn. Get some Vigilance on our Scavengers, hit ya. Down to 18. I mean, that's one of the upsides of Scavengers compared to Soulflayer, is you need your opponent's graveyard. That's a pretty good Scavenger. Missing Double Strike, but that is a pretty good 3-drop, I would say. Gondor. Ooh, so many Elishnorns. So many Elishnorns. Well, Elishnorn draws up the beanstalk. If we attack with everything, we hit for 6. Opponent blocks. Let's play the oh, I'm so dumb. Well, get in with the Scavenger. Yeah. Yell at me in the comments. That's fine. It may have been smarter to exile the Revenant and give the Kiora Flying. Haha. An attack with the Flyer and hit for lethal. The attack for lethal line might have been better than the play the Revenant line. On second thought, oops. I was so focused on the Scavengers. Opponent, Elspeth. I mean, in the end, it's no harm, no foul, because we're still going to win this game. But we're going to win it 1 turn later than we should have. Yes. That's on me. My apologies. Well, now, we don't even need to attack. Our opponent just scoops it up for us. Well, Scavengers... Pretty good that game. Maybe Scavengers is actually good now. The new Sultai cards from Tarkir Dragonstorm gave us a lot of new options in Standard. And this hand, we got a Scavengers. And we got to say his name to fill the graveyard. And a Sphinx that we'd really like to get in the graveyard, but that island. That island, though. Opponent, Authority of the Consuls. Really doesn't want to lose to aggro. Well, let's play an island and say its name. Ooh, all right. Well, that's a Zetalpa in the graveyard, and turn 3 Scavengers exiling Zetalpa. About the best thing our deck can do. Opponent, High Noon. Opponent really doesn't want to lose to the Prowess decks. They have come prepared for Prowess, but are you prepared for an Urborg Scavengers exiling a Zetalpa to make a 3-mana 3/3 flying indestructible Double Striker? And then we can Kiora and pitch the Sphinx. And honestly, the best Scavengers we can build is exiling Zetalpa and the Sphinx. Like, Hexproof Double Strike, Indestructible, Flying, that is a really good Scavengers. Kiora, pitch the Sphinx, and we'll discard a random land. I'll play the Surveil Land. I think I'm okay with keeping another Kiora. Well, let's do a little scavenging. Get the Sphinx. This is kind of big because even with Indestructible, our opponent could theoretically like Ride's End or something to get rid of the scavengers. Now that we have Hexproof and Indestructible, it's gonna be really difficult for our opponent to interact with it. Found it, down to 14. Also, we have like a 2-turn clock. We're actually, wait, next turn we can hit for 13. We can almost win next turn. Well, all right. Overlord of the Mistmore. So we're not going to win next turn. Opponent's got a couple of random jump blockers. Well, let's do a little cachet grabbing. See if we can snag us actually, 7 cards. All right, we're going to snag 0. So this way we can go to combat, we can attack, we can exile the scavengers, and we can make an octopus. I feel like making an 8/8. Probably better than getting a land back in our hand there. Free 8/8 sounds pretty nice. Gonna kill the Kiora. Gonna chump. Well, we will trample over, hit you down to 6. And play the land. And can you stop the scavengers, opponent? Can you stop the scavengers? Found it. Wow, they had the Ride's End. Wow, they actually would have been able to deal with it if we didn't have Hexproof. Yeah, I mean, that is a big pile of abilities about it. It has Hexproof, it has Indestructible, and opponent. I'm gonna scoop it up, and that is an unbeatable scavengers. That is exactly what we were hoping to do with this deck. Like, literally exactly. Well, let's bring in some Heritage Reclamations. I don't even know if we care about all of our opponent's silly enchantments, but they are playing a lot of silly enchantments. I guess we just do a little trimming, maybe like a couple of Hydras, running like that. I don't even know exactly what our opponent's playing. Some sort of like, I don't want to lose to prowess Staxy deck, which I will say, I have had that same idea. I haven't actually worked on it, but I feel like you can probably build some sort of Staxy deck with High Noon and Authority of the Consuls and temporary lockdowns or split ups. Ooh. Do we want another scavenger? So we already have 2. I think we're going to say no. This hand's already very scavenger heavy. And we'll just pass. We can cash grab on our opponent's turn. Well, let's grab some cash. Snag. Yeah, we'll take Awaken the Honored Dead. Play the tap land and say its name. Say its name. Say its name. There's a Zatalpa. That's what we were looking for. Do we need the land or Oculus is better? Yeah, let's take the Oculus. I feel like we can run with 3 lands pretty fine here. Opponent, Overlord of the Mistmore. Well, the coast is clear. And we draw the land anyway. That's not the worst. Well, play the land. Do we just run out the scavenger? They could untap and Ride's End it, even though it's indestructible. I think we're going to get down the Oculus first. Get down the Oculus first. We can still leave the Zatalpa in the graveyard. Yeah, I guess we might as well take Kiora. I guess there could be a world where we flip it up if we have a full graveyard to make an octopus. Bone it. Shadowy Bagsry. Passing. Unimpending. Ooh, another land. Okay, that worked out very nicely. I would love to find a way to get the Sphinx in the graveyard. Because then that's the only thing that's keeping me from doing the scavenger thing is we have the Sphinx right here. So if we can get it in the graveyard, then we can get Hexproof, and then we don't have to worry about the Ride's End. And then we can give it Indestructible and Double Strike. But we saw the Ride's End in game 1, so it's just like, no, I don't want to exile our one Zatalpa in the graveyard, only to get hit by a Ride's End, but I think we got to go for it at this point. Scavengers. Exiles the Zatalpa. I mean, they might not have it. They could not have it. Yeah, get in with the Manifest. We're going to leave back the Oculus for now. Ship the turn. Oculus. Do a little surveilling. Snag. Doesn't really matter. We'll take the Verge as a face down 2/2. Getting in. Okay. We will block with our indestructible 3/3 flying double striker. Are they just wrathing? You know what? Doesn't die to a wrath. Yes! That would be Urborg Scavengers. That is indestructible thanks to Zatalpa. Okay, not the scariest wrath ever. I mean, it did get rid of our Oculus, but that's fine. We're a scavenger deck anyway. We're a scavenger deck, not an Oculus deck. I feel like Yeah, I want to get an Awaken the Undead going to fill our graveyard. So we might as well get it down, even though we don't really have to kill the Overlord of the Mistmoors yet. Also worth mentioning, if there's never, if you're ever in a situation where there's nothing really relevant to exile, you can always just exile whatever is the best card in your opponent's graveyard. Like, in case there's graveyard synergies or, wow, an opponent takes a beating, double strike, Indestructible, flying, Scavengers, and scoops it up, and so far Scavengers are absolutely crushing it. Did we break it? Did we break it at gold 3? Seems pretty good. We do need another land, but we can say its name to find one, hopefully. And there's one anyway. I mean, we got a Kiora, got an Oculus, got a Scavengers. Opponent appears to be a Golgari player. Mosswood Dread Knight, eh? Well, play the land and say its name. Let's take the Verge. Get the untap land. So next turn we can do something. It would have been nice if we milled something. Ooh, Glissa. Opponent's off to a fast little curve out start here. Oh, wow, and we don't have double black for Revenant. That's awkward. Well, that's Kiora. See if we can get the Sphinx in the graveyard. I guess maybe we just pitch one of the Revenants that we can't cast yet anyway. We can next turn, I think, with the Verge. Opponent's going to get in. We're going to take it. We might just be too far behind. Our opponent got off to a very fast little start here. Oh, Rock Curse for Salka. Okay. Ah! Okay, 2 of them. Now we're... Wow. Wow, what is this, Golgari aggro? My goodness. That is a lot of power. Like, yes, we can play as Scavengers and give it Hexproof, but it's just going to have to chump block. Yeah, I think we don't have Wraths or anything. I think we're just dead. Well, that was a impressive start. 2-drop, 3-drop, double 2-drop, and the Rakshashas are just so big. Well, good job, Golgari, I guess. Good lord. Well, I guess we bring in a little bit more removal after seeing that ridiculously fast Golgari start. Going down a Revenant, go down and say his name, run it like that. Yeah, I think we just mulligan that one. We could have maybe surveilled our way into a land, but the hand wasn't even good if we did. This hand is fine. Like, it's fine because we have a Kiora, which could find us a Scavengers maybe. And it can get the Sphinx in the graveyard, which is nice. All right, Awaken the Undead is good. That is something we were missing in game 1. Just a way to deal with our opponent's rush of creatures. We just didn't hit any removal. Not that we're like super removal heavy, but we do have some removal in the deck. Opponent, Mosswood Dread Knight. It's kind of funny. Sometimes you play against people who... let's Kiora. Pitch the Sphinx and I guess the Revenant. Some opponents you play against on turn 2, they're like almost always drawing with their Mosswood Dread Knights. Some opponents are almost always running it out as a creature. This seems to be a run out my Dread Knights as a creature opponent. That's the chunky monkey way. Gonna chunk in for 3 and kill the Kiora? No. Well, let's cash grab. Do some digging. Hopefully find a land. Oh, well, okay. We did. It's a tap land, but we almost whipped on lands. Our graveyard's getting juicy, though. Our graveyard is getting juicy. Well, get in with Kiora. Not quite enough to make an octopus. Opponent, gonna go for the throw. Sure. Opponent, Forest, and... oh, boy, that one hurts. Tranquil Frillback. I mean, that is one of the downsides of our deck. It is a graveyard-based deck, so it does mean we can get got by a Tranquil Frillback or whatever. Although, we are pretty good at rebuilding. Mill some cards. That was actually wonderful. We missed on lands, but we found a Scavengers, and we got the Zetalpa in the graveyard. Now we'll cash grab, find a Surveil land, do a little surveilling. Keep the Verge. All right, can we dodge a second Graveyard Hate? If they have another Graveyard Hate piece, then it's going to be tough to rebuild. If they don't, though, we got the Zetalpa and the Sphinx in the graveyard. We have the land on top, so next turn we can double 3-drop. So we can Awaken the Undead, kill something, and Scavengers, exile... I don't know, Zetalpa? I don't know if it's Zetalpa. Probably Zetalpa. Ooh, Rock Curse for Shasha. Found it hits us down to 8. Blossoming Tortoise, are we too far behind? Play the Scavengers. Our opponent's tapped down, so they shouldn't be able to kill it, I don't think. Let's Awaken the Undead. Kill the Scavengers. Our opponent's tapped down, so they shouldn't be able to kill it, I don't think. Let's Awaken the Undead. Kill the Scavengers. Our opponent's tapped down, so they shouldn't be able to kill it, I don't think. We're going to exile the Sphinx, get Hexproof, awaken the Honored Dead. Hexproof also means they can't decay it with the Rakshasa, which is nice. Blow up the turtle. Unfortunately, we don't want to block this turn, so we are kind of going to 2. Opponent, Blossoming Tortoise number 2. And Preacher of the Schism. Blump, bump, blump, bump, bump. We might still just be dead. Ugh, land. And a say its name. Okay. Mill some cards. Well, say its name. We can get back, I guess, the Scavengers. Man, we built 2 really sweet Scavengers, but no, not quite enough. We're going to be just a tiny bit too slow. Yeah, get the Zatalpa. And scoop it up. Well, Golgari looking oddly aggressive that game, but yeah, well done, opponent. And this hand, that's 2 uncastable Zatalpas, but that's fine because we're going to find a Kiora to put him in our graveyard. Nails Malone. Leads on an... Wow. I was hoping we'd find the Kiora. Wow, and a Sphinx on top too. Everything's coming up Millhouse on this one. I was hoping we'd find a Kiora, but I wasn't expecting to be the literal top card in our deck. Opponent might be Jeskai Control. I mean, we could cash grab now to avoid counters. I don't know. You don't see that many counter, like a Spell Pierce, but you're going to Spell Pierce a cash grab? I don't know. Maybe you do. Oh, Mentor the Meek. Well, good thing we got this Awaken the Honored Dead. So our opponent must be a Prowess deck. Do we need the land? Or can we take the Oculus? Yeah, I think we just take the land for now. We could always get the Oculus with the Say Its Name anyway. I'll play the Verge. And we definitely got to kill the Mentor. Awaken the Honored Dead. Get rid of the Monastery Mentor. Have you seen the Alchemy card? They spoiled a new Alchemy card. That is like a 4-drop. I think it's a 4-drop, like 3/3 with Prowess. Whenever you cast a 9-creature spell, it makes a Monastery Mentor. So there's a Corey Steelcutter. I want them to start printing cards like that more in paper. We already seen some of them, but like that card and the card that like makes 2 Siege Rhino tokens, I think you could just print those cards in paper. Like I don't think you have to limit them to being arena exclusives. Like I think you can just be like, create a Siege Rhino token, create a Monastery Mentor token. Like we've already had some cards do that. So I think we could do that. And I think it'd actually be kind of fun. It seems like, let's play the Kiora. Draw our cash grab. Discard these Zatalpas for future scavenging purposes. But I feel like that's a really cool way to keep iconic older cards relevant. And get that like nostalgia hit. That would also still be like balanced and fun for the game. So I'd like to see Wizards. If you're watching this, Wizards, I would like to see more of that in paper because it seems like just such an easy way to, like maybe Siege Rhino's not good enough anymore. But what if you get 2 Siege Rhinos for 6 mana? Is that good enough? And it might be, and it's still Siege Rhino. Oh my God, that's Lightning Helix. Found it, gonna kill the Kiora. All right, we just need to find a Scavengers. Well, let's discard this tap land and snag us. Sadly, not a Scavengers, but we can take an Oculus, which the Oculus can probably stabilize at least. Play the Oculus, exile things that are not creatures. Yeah, we have no way of getting back cash grabs or lands or anything. I mean, I guess you can get a land back, but they're pretty safe to exile. Well, get down the Oculus. Do a little manifestation of dreading. Opponent, rediscover the way. So opponent seems to be like a bigger Prowess deck. So still Prowessy, but not as aggro as the most common build. Opponent. Kind of like almost prowess control, maybe, if that's a thing. Well, opponent grows this. You can hit us with the Steel Cutter. All right, opponent's not gonna. We're not gonna block with the Oculus anyway. Well, let's cash grab. Get the Surveillant, I guess. Where's our Scavengers? Where are our I mean, winning is great, but if we just win with an Oculus. Okay, if we just win with 2 Oculuses. Does that even really count? Let's say its name. Mill the Oculus because we know he's get it back anyway. Ooh, man. Yeah, we're gonna do the right thing. We're gonna take the Oculus. I know. I know it's not the cool thing, but I feel like to win this game, the correct thing is to have 2 Oculuses going. As good as Scavengers is, it's gonna take a minute to build up. The Oculus just makes immediate bodies that, ooh. Well, let's get a Kiora to make an octopus in the future. But the immediate bodies are just really, really helpful here. I'm always afraid against Corey Steelcutter decks, so you're just gonna die. Like that's the joy of the matchup, is you just sit there in fear that, oh no, is this the turn where I'm just gonna get 20'd out of the blue? And being able to just add a bunch of bodies to the battlefield, it makes me feel safer. Even though blocking sucks, it makes me feel like I'm safer, whether I actually am or not. Bonnet, another Monastery Mentor. Kind of funny that Mentor. We're in its format where Prowess is the best deck going, and Mentor still doesn't really see play. I think Monastery Mentor might be the best Prowess creature of all time. At least pre-Corey Steelcutter. Well, cash grab, final land. Quag Feast. Gotta get rid of that Mentor. Can't have that. I can't have that popping off. No more lies. Our opponent really is kind of like Prowess Control hybrid. Well, I mean, I think we're just going to win with these Oculi. At this point, we can just cast the Sphinx, but yeah, I think we still just mill it. Get in, hit you for 10 in the air. Opponent down to 5. All right, opponent. Can you kill us through our huge board of Manifest? And there's a Scavengers for next turn. Well, opponent needs to kill us or wrath our board, I think. And they got to do it now. They got to do it this turn. Opponent, Elegant Parlor. Wow. Does not have the answer. Cannot beat, well, I was gonna say the Scavengers, but really that was Oculus. Cannot beat the Oculus. Sideboard wise, the Filigree Silex is our tech for trying to beat Corey Steelcutter. We'll see how good it is, but I feel like it's a reasonable answer. You can play it and right away blow up all the tokens if you need to, and then if you have time, you can take it up to 2 to blow up the Steelcutters. Insult, I think it's as good as we get, since we don't get temporary lockdown or split up or whatever. Yeah, I guess we can trim one Revenant, run it like that. It'd be sweet if we could win with Scavengers this time. Although, honestly, most of our games have been Scavenger games, which I feel good about. It hasn't been like we've mostly just played Oculi. Yeah, let's put the Sphinx to the bottom. This hand's actually pretty good. 3 ways to fill the graveyard into Scavengers is kind of exactly what we want. Well, Underground Mortuary, mill the Revenant. It's always funny with Revenant. Like, at 3 mana, it's very castable, and it's not a bad creature. So there's actually, ooh, I wish we had milled that. There's always a little tension of, do you keep it and try to play it as a Vampire Nighthawk, or do you just mill it, get it in the graveyard for Scavengers, or for Renew or whatever? I think it depends mostly on the situation, but I do tend to mill it a lot, though. Well, let's cash grab. See if we can grab us. Actually, it's, oh, we're gonna counter it. All right, no more lies. Sure. The truth will be told. Play, yeah, let's just say its name first. Yeah, let's just take the land. We already have a Scavengers. Our problem is not finding a Scavengers. It's right now fueling the Scavengers. We just don't have anything. We can play and get rid of eat the Revenant. All right, opponent, Monastery Mentor. Well, Awaken the, I will say Awaken the Honored Dead has really impressed me. It has really felt solid pretty much every single game. I feel like maybe it's better than it's getting credit for. Like, I feel like this card might actually be pretty good. And, well, there's the Steelcutter. Well, we have the Filigree Silex. Let's see if the Filigree Silex, they're going to blow it up. Interesting. I guess they mostly just wanted to trigger the Steelcutter and make their 2/2. We draw another Awaken the Honored Dead. All right, we'll play the control rule. Blow up the Corey Steelcutter. Corey Steelcutter is such an absurd card. It is an absurd one. How about it? Does it really have to have Trample? I think that's the question. I don't know why. I feel like we're learning that red having Trample on their cheap things is not always fun. Well, mill some cards. There's a Sphinx, which is good. Let's cash grab, find a land. They only have 1 card in hand, and we do have a Sphinx. Yeah, it's time. It's time for some scavenging. Herbor Scavengers. Please don't kill it at instant speed. Sphinx the final word? Hold. Whew. Oh my god, it's not a lightning helix. Okay. Still a little awkward because we don't really want to be blocking yet. Oh, well, I'm actually kind of okay with that. We lose our scavengers, but our opponent loses Monastery Mentor, which was kind of scary. Now we get to discard this Talpa. I guess we'll just get back an Ocul Eye. And then planar boy scavengers. Eat a Zetalpa. And unfortunately, now that we know our opponent's playing another Oculus, wow. Now that we know our opponent's playing Sunfall, they do have an answer, theoretically, even to this Indestructible Scavengers. Although, thanks to the maps, we win in 2 attacks. What? Come on now. Come on now, Nails Malone. Well, our opponent's going to kill all of our fun cards, so I guess we're just gonna have to give him the eye. Oh, we're short cards. All right, only 1 eye for now. We'll get on the Filigree Silex, which we can use to just blow up the incubates if necessary. Although right now it doesn't seem that. Do you better not have a 3rd Sunfall? You know what? As weird as Standard has been lately, it has been nice not to face as many Sunfalls. The format's gotten so fast that whoa, blue O'Hare. Do not see the blue O'Hare very often. Probably because it's smaller than the eye. It's a cool idea, but it's just not as big as the eye. Ooh, Cash Grab's not bad. Cash Grab is pretty good. Get some more cards in the graveyard. Snag us a Scavengers. Let's just play the Oculus. 1, 2. We don't have double strike in the graveyard at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4. This might just be an Oculus kind of game. Although, honestly, we did get down 2 good Scavengers, only to get Sunfalled. Sunfall's just, no matter what we get under Scavengers, Sunfall has the ability to answer it. Well, get in, hit ya. Down to 13. Double Manifest Dread. I think the Oculi's actually work just so well in this deck, too, because even beyond just being a good backup win condition, the Manifest Dread fills our graveyard, so it's another way to fuel our Scavengers. It's like a perfect pairing. What do we got? Malone. Slick Sequence. All right. Sure. Gonna pick that Manifest, which was a random land about it. They do get to rebound it if they're still alive next turn, which they might barely be. So we can flip up the Kiora. We can also just send Kiora to the air by renewing the Revenant. That might be the best. So Revenant on the Kiora, attack with everything. Revenant on the Kiora, blow the Silex to kill the Incubate. Attack with everything. Our opponent has to chump block. We do lose our other Manifest, but whatever. So this is exactly lethal. So our opponent has to chump block with their O'Hare. Plus we get an 8/8 Octopus. Basically, our opponent's gotta draw. They gotta draw Sunfall. They gotta draw Sunfall off the top right now. Hit you down to 3. O'Hare down. They do have the Slick Sequence that's gonna rebound, but that doesn't really do anything. We'll do some more manifesting. There's a Zetalpa that we're actually kind of close to being able to flip up. I don't think we're gonna have this game go long enough for it to matter, but found it. Slick Sequence. Gonna kill. Well, there's Zetalpa. But opponent does not draw the Sunfall, and they scoop it up, and Scavengers just keep winning. They just keep on winning. The deck actually feels like oddly solid. Sweet. Ooh. I mean, this hand's got a Scavengers, but we don't have a way to fill the graveyard. Hopefully we find... I mean, I guess we have a Surveil land. That's technically... Maybe we just high roll. Maybe we just mill Zetalpa with the Surveil land. I've seen it happen with the Reanimator decks. Those are the worst. When you're up against Reanimator and they're like, Surveil land, mill Atraxa. And you're like, come on. You're supposed to have to work for that. You're not supposed to just get free Atraxa in your graveyard. Surveillance, 2 OP. I mean, that doesn't happen that often, but when it does, it hurts. I'm sure it's great if you're the Reanimator player, though. Well, there's a Sphinx that, well, honestly would rather have in the graveyard, but that's okay. We just need a Kiora. A Kiora would be nice. Opponent appears to be a Golgari player. Well, I mean, it might be a Revenant beatdown time. Yeah, land and Quasi-Revenant. Opponent. Unholy Annex. Sure. So opponent starts drawing cards. Well, I guess we're gonna get a little swifty with a Goldvein Hydra. Hit you for 6, opponent down to 12. I mean, maybe we just get a very oddly aggro win here. Like, maybe we just beat him down and they take some damage from the Unholy Annex. Opponent gonna kill the Revenant. Well, that's something in the graveyard to exile to the Scavengers. Against Golgari, I feel like we really need a Sphinx or a Zetalpa, though, because they're going to have a lot of removal. There's an eye that we're not especially close to casting yet. Opponent's going to block. Drop to 9. And now we can just Scavengers as Graveyard Hate to get rid of the Mosswood Dread Knight. The sneaky sideboard mode of Urborg Scavengers. Hating on your opponent's graveyard. Which is actually kind of funny. Like, could you imagine beating Omniscience because you scavenge their Omniscience? Maybe we need a way to give Scavengers flash so we can really use it like graveyard hate against Omniscience decks. Opponent. Wow, gonna spend their turn turning on the Soulstorm Sanctuary. So Unholy Annex stops draining them. I mean, with all of our treasures, we can actually just cast the Sphinx. I don't even know. Well, we definitely do not want even more Surveillance. And get in with the Scavengers. Do we want to exile the Revenant to gain some life? Let's get Vigilance. Let's get Vigilance thanks to the Hydra. And then we're just gonna hard cast the Sphinx to the final word. Good old 7 mana 5/5 flyer, but it does have hexproof, so. The problem is if they draw land, then they can make a 6/6 demon, and you know what stops a 5/5 Sphinx? That would be a 6/6 demon. Well, or they can just draw land and play another Unholy Annex, this time on the Ritual Chamber side. Our aggression has been stopped. We just never found a Zetalpa. We needed a Zetalpa. Would have been really nice here, and then we could give the Scavengers double strike and Indestructible, and then it'd be able to get in through the demon, but Revenant gives Death Touch, so it does mean our opponent would have to trade their demon if they want to block. The question is, do we put it on Scavengers or Sphinx? I think we put it on the Scavengers. Get in with the Scavengers. If they wanna trade it off, they can trade it off. They can also just make another demon next turn. At least we get to gain some life, though. All right, we gain some life. Up to 24. It might not seem like we're in that much danger life total-wise, but 2 Unholy Annexes going. That's like going to be 4 a turn without taking any damage. And then if they start hitting us with demons and so forth. All right, there's a Maelstrom Pulse. We do have this Goldvein Hydra, which can come down by surprise. Opponent, Lisa. Yeah, opponent drains us, gains some life. Well, let's play the Kiora. Do some drawing, do some discarding. Keep the non-summoning sick one. Ugh, 2 lands. Well, those were not super helpful. We can play an Oculus, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I guess Kiora for 6. We can't really attack, though. That's the problem if they just gum up the board so we can't attack. Well, there's all of our graveyard fillers. If they gum up the board so we can't attack, then Holy Annexes just slowly... They have the inevitability. That's what I'm trying to say. Then Holy Annexes give them the... Really? Nowhere to run. Put our Sphinx to the final word. Oh, and a Shieldred. Okay. If the Glissa attacks us, I think we have a shot. Opponent gets in with the Glissa. Because this might, is there any way, does this, now we got to do math. Is this actually lethal? So opponent's going to draw. They're going to go up to 6. We attack with everything. They can block 1 of the 5/5 flyers. So they're going to take 5 in the air. And then we have the Goldvein. Gold Vein's gonna be what, 6? So Gold Vein for 6. Is this Xaxes? Is this actually Xaxes? So they block Shieldred on the Gold Vein. They take 1 from that. They take 3 from Cure, that's 4. 5 from one of the flyers. Looks like 9 to me. Gold Vein Hydra off the top rope at the last possible second. If we did not win this turn, it was going to become impossible. Like, our opponent's going to have so much life gain stacked up with the Shieldreds and then the Holy Annexes. We're just going to get, they're going to gain a ton of life. We're going to get drained out of the game, but the Hydra comes through impressively. That was... Not the Scavengers win, but that was a sweet win. Wow, what a... At first, it looked like we were going to run away with that game. And then it looked like our opponent was just going to lock it up with all their Unholy Annex shenanigans. Ended up being an interesting close game. Well, we can bring in a little bit more removal that can kill stuff like Shieldred, kill the big things. Heritage Reclamation can get rid of the Unholy Annexes as well. It's tough to sideboard a ton. Like... We could bring in all 4 Heritage Reclamations, but we really need to keep enough pieces. We're a combo deck, right? We're a synergy deck. So we can't just like willy-nilly cut all of our synergy pieces because then our Scavengers don't work and the whole game plan falls apart. So we need to use a light touch when it comes to our sideboarding. All right, DJ Sim, on to game number 2. It's always nice when like it ends up being exactly enough. Magic is a game of inches. It's very close. Like 1 life total in either direction was going to determine that game. Like if our opponent had 1 more life or we had 1 less mana for Hydra, really the treasure that we made off the first Hydra that we didn't use, it was just left over and laying around. If we didn't have that treasure, our second Hydra wouldn't have been big enough. We would have hit our opponent to 1 instead of getting lethal. And then our opponent would have won that game. Like, that's how ridiculously close that game ended up being. Are they done? Did the Hydra from the top rope, did that just suplex them right out of Magic Arena altogether? Are they just, they're done with Magic? That beatdown was too severe. They're never going to recover. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not that sorry, but still, I mean, I don't want anyone to quit Magic. It was just a little scavenger beatdown. Maybe we get to play Magic after all. We don't have a Scavengers, but we got to 2 removal spells, a Graveyard Filler, and a Kiora. I'm gonna have to build some more Awaken the Honored decks. I feel like that card, sleeper. It's a bit of a sleeper. I still think the Hydra beatdown might have got him. It might have got him. There might not be a game 2. Wow, this deck actually worked oddly well. An opponent, head explodes, no game 2 necessary. Scavengers, too good for DJ Sim. Sweet. So what do we learn this week about Sultai Scavengers in Standard? And record-wise, the deck kind of killed it. So we went 5-1 with the deck, although I guess it is worth mentioning. It was right after the season reset, so we were at gold, so maybe not the toughest competition, but still, just by the record, the deck felt really, really good. More importantly, it played really well. Thanks to all the cash grabs and Kioras and the Say Its names, we're really good at just digging through our deck and finding our pieces. And then Urborg Scavengers was actually really hilariously effective at locking up games. It was pretty easy to get a Scavengers with a Zetalpa, and we got to see it surviving like Day of Judgment, to stick around through the rest and taking our opponent down. Once we get Hexproof from the Sphinx on top of it, a lot of decks really struggled to deal with this like double striking indestructible Hexproof threat. And Urborg Scavengers does that like very consistently. So I know the deck, like, there are weaknesses to it. It is a graveyard deck, so I'm not saying it's a top tier deck or anything like that, but the deck actually felt very functional, and I thought it played really well. So if you like graveyard synergies, you like doing weird shenanigans with lots of keywords, I would give the deck a shot. I found it super fun to play, and it won way more than I expected it to. So anyway, that is Sultai Scavengers. That's been our deck for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.